Welcome, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to explore how ancient civilizations still impact our modern world.
Hmm. It's more than just calendars and food, right?
You bet. We're talking influence on everything, science to philosophy to art. It's amazing how much we owe to these ancient cultures.
Yeah, when you really think about it, though they lived centuries ago, they were just like us, always searching for knowledge, understanding the world, and creating new things.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. First up, science and technology. Can you believe that the math we use today? I mean, the very basics got its start with the Babylonians and Greeks thousands of years ago. Think arithmetic, geometry, algebra.
Wow. Those Babylonian thinkers were way ahead of their time.
Right. And then you've got the Greek geniuses, Euclid and Archimedes. They completely revolutionized our understanding of those concepts.
You know, it's wild that Euclid's book, Elements, it's about geometry, it's still studied today. Like the stuff we learn in school, at those building blocks, they go back that far.
It really blows your mind, the ingenuity. And speaking of looking beyond our world, how about those early astronomers from Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece? They were mapping the stars, driven by the same curiosity about the cosmos that astronomers have today.
I know. No telescopes, no modern technology, and they laid the groundwork for understanding the universe. That's dedication.
They were the original explorers venturing into the unknown. And it wasn't just the skies. Let's talk about the ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans and their contribution to medicine. Herbal remedies, surgery, even a grasp of human anatomy. Imagine performing surgeries thousands of years ago.
Well, think about their approach to health. Seeing the body as a system connected to nature, using plants for healing, doing surgery, and get this trephination. Drilling small holes in the skull, maybe to relieve pressure, who knows?
It's unbelievable what they accomplished without today's tools and knowledge.
Yeah.
And speaking of accomplishments, think about the architecture. The pyramids, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Colosseum, it's mind-blowing.
More than just buildings, though, right? They're testaments to their engineering skills and artistry. The scale, the complexity built without modern tools, unbelievable.
Yeah, those structures are like time capsules, giving us a glimpse into their world, their beliefs, their capabilities. It makes you wonder what message they were trying to send, not just to their contemporaries, but to us all these years later.
It's like a dialogue across time. Welcome back to our exploration. We've seen how these ancient cultures really set the stage for science and medicine, but their influence, it goes way beyond that.
Okay, so we've covered science, tech, even medicine, but what about law and government? It's easy to think those are modern ideas, but our ancestors, they were dealing with this stuff ages ago.
Exactly. They needed structure, organization, just like us today. Look at the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest written law codes we know of. Property rights, family matters, punishments for crimes. I mean, some of those punishments, pretty harsh by today's standards, but still.
It's like their version of a legal system, right? Trying to create order, address those timeless issues. Fascinating. And it wasn't just the Babylonians. Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, they all developed sophisticated legal systems, laying the groundwork for what we have today.
What's interesting is how their ideas about justice, about governing, influenced later civilizations, like Athenian democracy, the idea that citizens participate. Huge impact.
It's mind-blowing, these ancient ideas still shaping our world, a thread connecting us through time. And speaking of connections, how about the environment? You might think that's a modern worry, but even ancient civilizations, they had to think about it.
Totally. They had limited resources. They had to be resourceful, innovative. Look at their agriculture irrigation systems, crop rotation, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. It wasn't just a pretty sight, it was a sustainable design, a feat of engineering.
They understood that connection between humans and nature, something we're only now fully appreciating. And it wasn't just gardens, Roman aqueducts, bringing fresh water over huge distances. They knew how to work with their environment.
Right. No fancy tech, but they came up with solutions, and a lot of those ideas are still relevant today. Water management, sustainable agriculture, we can learn from them.
It's true. We can learn a lot from how they lived in harmony with the planet. Okay, shifting gears a bit, let's get into health and medicine. No labs, no fancy equipment, but they made some amazing discoveries about the human body.
I know, right? No modern tech, but they understood the body and the natural world. Like the ancient Egyptians, amazing surgical techniques, trephination, that was brain surgery, basically.
Brain surgery thousands of years ago, seriously. They were really pushing the limits of knowledge back then. And don't forget their herbal remedies. Willow bark, that's where we get aspirin from.
It's crazy how they figured that stuff out. Observation, experimentation, probably a lot of trial and error. No labs, no journals, just their knowledge of nature and the human body. And that holistic view of health, diet, lifestyle, that's something we're coming back to today.
Preventative care, ancient style. They knew health wasn't just about treating illness, it was about maintaining balance. Okay, now let's talk knowledge and education. No Google, no Wikipedia, but they managed to learn and pass down so much.
It's remarkable. They really valued knowledge, tried to preserve it. The Library of Alexandria, think about that. One of the largest libraries ever. Scrolls, texts, philosophy, history, math, astronomy, everything.
It was like the Google of their time.
Uh,
And it wasn't just about collecting it, it was about sharing, debating. Ancient Greeks, they loved a good discussion. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, pushing those boundaries of understanding.
Education, critical thinking, it was important to them. Knowledge wasn't just memorizing facts, it was about ideas, questioning, seeking truth. Our modern systems of learning, they owe a lot to that.
The pursuit of knowledge, timeless. Okay, let's move on to economics. Bustling marketplaces, trade routes, ancient civilizations, they had complex systems for trading goods and services. Trade was everything. They developed currencies, trade routes across continents, taxes, public finance. They even dealt with that. Think about the Roman Empire. Their trade network was huge. Goods and resources from all over the known world.
The original global traders. And it wasn't just trading, they innovated in agriculture, manufacturing, all sorts of things.
Their ingenuity is amazing. Look at Egyptian irrigation systems, cultivating those crops in the Nile River Valley. And Roman engineering, roads, bridges, aqueducts.
It's mind-boggling. They built these complex systems, these amazing structures, all without today's tech. They really laid the groundwork for our interconnected world. But hold on, folks. One more segment to go. Even more fascinating stuff to uncover about the legacy of these incredible civilizations. And we're back for the final leg of our deep dive. We've journeyed through the incredible impact of ancient civilizations, and guess what? We've still got more fascinating ground to cover. Seriously, their accomplishments never cease to amaze me. We've talked science, tech, law, even how they approach the environment. But it doesn't stop there. Social justice, human rights, entertainment, even the food we eat today, they had a hand in it all.
No kidding. Let's start with social justice. It's easy to picture those ancient societies as, well, pretty rigid with strict hierarchies and empires and all that.
Yeah.
But did they ever grapple with ideas of equality and fairness?
Oh, absolutely. Their societies were complicated and they had to figure out issues of power, justice, individual rights. Even that Code of Hammurabi, remember, harsh as it was about creating order, protecting people from being taken advantage of. And then in ancient Greece, democracy emerges.
Huh.
The idea of citizens having a say, equal representation, that was radical.
Right. It's fascinating to see them working through these big questions that we're still dealing with today. They were laying the foundation for so much, ideas that evolved over time, shaping things like modern human rights movements.
Exactly. And the ancient philosophers, wow, they really shaped our understanding of individual dignity and freedom. Think about Socrates, Plato. They pushed people to think critically, challenge the status quo, ethical behavior, personal responsibility, seeking truth. All these ideas connect deeply with modern human rights.
It's amazing how those ancient ideas about justice and equality, individual rights, still resonate with us.
Yeah.
But hey, life in ancient civilizations wasn't all deep thinking and philosophical debates, right?
Oh, of course not. They knew how to have fun, too. The ancient Greeks, for example, they loved their theater. Tragedies, comedies, they explored the whole range of human emotions, captivated audiences. They influenced Western literature and theater in a big way.
It's true. And who could forget the Roman Colosseum? Gladiators, chariot races, those spectacles. Wow, they drew massive crowds. Entertainment that was, well, pretty brutal by today's standards, but it tells us a lot about their culture, their society.
It's fascinating, right? These different forms of entertainment, whether it was grand theater or these public spectacles, they were social events, cultural touchstones, ways to express collective emotions.
And don't forget music and dance. They were a huge part of life back then. Rituals, ceremonies, celebrations, always with music and dance. Can you imagine those ancient cities filled with all those vibrant rhythms and melodies?
I know, music and dance, they connected people, built communities. It was a way to express yourself artistically, to tell stories. And they transcended language barriers, a way to share emotions, traditions. It's powerful.
Speaking of sharing, let's talk about something universal food. From basic staples like bread and olive oil to exotic spices they traded along routes like the Silk Road, ancient civilizations, they developed culinary traditions that are still with us today.
Think about it. Wine, beer, cheese, bread, pasta, so many of our favorite foods and drinks have roots in ancient times. They were pioneers, experimenting with ingredients, techniques, flavors, creating a whole world of culinary traditions that we still enjoy.
Those ancient recipes and techniques, passed down through generations, changing over time, but the essence remains. Food. It connects us to our past, to each other. It's pretty incredible.
It really is. Food is more than fuel, right? It reflects culture, history, ingenuity. As we wrap up our deep dive, it's clear these ancient civilizations were more than just a chapter in a history book. They were innovators, creators, thinkers who shaped the world as we know it.
And their accomplishments in science, tech, art, philosophy, so much more. They continue to inspire us. They remind us that human history is interconnected. It's like they're speaking to us across time, urging us to learn from their successes, their mistakes, their legacy.
And that legacy, it's all around us. It's woven into the fabric of our lives, how we think, how we govern, how we create, how we celebrate, even how we feed ourselves.
So next time you're grappling with a math concept or marveling at a building or savoring a delicious meal, take a moment to appreciate those echoes of antiquity. They connect us to the people who came before us. Their legacy lives on, not just in museums and books, but in who we are, how we live. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.